You know when you look at a textbook page and think, yeah, that's pretty simple. Well, what if I told you that page is actually engineered with the same care as a bridge or a skyscraper? Today we're going behind the scenes to expose the hidden architecture of a seemingly simple language lesson. This, right here, this little chap, this is the whole point. This simple, everyday exchange is the final product. The entire reason for the lesson we're about to break down is to get a student to the point where they can have this exact conversation naturally and without even thinking about it. Because, and this is the cool part, it is not random at all. There's a deliberate, multi-layered strategy at play here. So we're going to peel back those layers one by one and really see the blueprint underneath. It's a fascinating peek into the science of how we learn. All right, so here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start with the destination, that weekend chat. Then we'll look at the vocabulary toolkit, fire up the grammar engine, see how they make it all stick, and then put it to the test. Finally, we'll see the whole master plan.
Okay, so first things first, let's establish our destination. Before you can build anything, you got to know what you're building towards, right? And for this lesson, it's all about one specific thing.
The whole lesson, and I mean everything in it, is reverse engineered from this one single goal. Every word, every picture, every exercise is chosen specifically to help a student ask about someone's weekend and then be able to talk about their own. It's incredibly laser-focused. All right, so if that's the goal, what are the raw materials? What are the actual building blocks? Well, that brings us to the first layer of the architecture, the vocabulary. Think of it as the student's personal toolkit. And just look at what's on this page. These aren't just a bunch of random words, right? These are specific, super common phrases for things people actually do on a weekend. It's like a greatest hits of weekend activities, a carefully chosen toolkit of the most useful parts. Yeah, check this out. Went for a walk, went bowling. They aren't teaching went and then bowling separately. No, they're presented as these whole usable chunks of language, and that is so important. This way, a student can just grab a whole phrase like went shopping and plug it right into a sentence. It's like using a pre-built component instead of trying to build it from scratch. It just gets them speaking way faster. Okay, so having a box full of parts is awesome, but it doesn't do you much good without the instruction manual, right? So let's get to the next layer, the grammar engine. This is what gives you the rules for how to actually assemble all those vocabulary phrases. And this chart just lays it out perfectly. You've got two main tools here. The past simple, which uses did, is for asking about something that's totally finished. You know, what did you do last weekend? Bam, done. Then you have the past continuous with was and ing for talking about something that was happening at a certain time. And you see, that difference is what gives the language all its texture. One question basically says, tell me about the finished event. The other one zooms right in on a moment and asks, what was happening right then? By teaching both, the lesson opens the door to a much richer, more natural-sounding conversation. So, we've got the parts, we've got the rules. Great. But how do you actually make it all stick? How do you keep it from going in one ear and out the other? Well, that brings us to the reinforcement stage. These are the clever techniques they use to really burn this knowledge into memory. And it's not just about what you see, it's about what you hear. The lesson actually has these phonics drills to help students tell the difference between really similar sounds, like the st in star versus the stra in strawberry. This is like tuning their ear, which is absolutely critical if you want to understand people and have them understand you. And then you get this, which is kind of brilliant, a chant. Using rhythm and repetition is just an amazing memory trick. Chanting, last summer, what did you do? I went to Hawaii, over and over again, just drills that, what did you do? I went, pattern right into your brain until it's second nature. It's basically grammar practice disguised as a fun little song. All right, so we've got the vocabulary parts, the grammar instructions, and the memory-sticking reinforcements. Now it's time for the final exam, the stress test. Let's see if all these components can actually be put together to build something that works in the real world. And this is the final piece of the puzzle. Application. They use this little story, a trip to the strawberry farm. And this isn't just some random cute story. Oh no. It is built from the ground up to use the exact vocabulary and grammar we've been looking at. It's the ultimate test drive. And boom, there it is. You see the grammar engine firing on all cylinders. This sentence right here from the story uses the past continuous, was picking and was eating, perfectly. So the student reads this and has that aha moment. The abstract rule they learned on a chart is now being used to tell a funny story. That's when it all clicks. Okay, let's pull back. We've been deep in the weeds looking at all the little pieces. Now let's zoom all the way out and look at the master blueprint for this entire learning machine. And here it is, the whole system in 5 simple stages. First, you start with a clear, practical goal. Second, you introduce the essential parts, the vocabulary. Third, you explain the rules of the game, the grammar. 4, you make it stick, using sound and rhythm. And finally, number 5, you test it all in a real-world context. It's just a complete, elegant system for learning. So, that page that looked so simple at the beginning, it's anything but. It is a highly intentional, carefully engineered system. Every single thing on that page has a job, and that job is to get a student from knowing nothing to having a real conversation as fast and effectively as possible.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? I mean, if this much careful design goes into just one language lesson, how many other things that we use every single day, the layout of a grocery store, the design of an app on your phone, have this kind of hidden architecture that we just never see? What other brilliant systems are hiding right there in plain sight?